Hello, welcome to Gemini Star Spiritual Wellness. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you're having a good day and doing well. In today's video, we're going to discuss the May 2025 astrological update. And I just can't believe it's May already. Feel like the last couple months have just flew by, but I love spring, so I enjoy this time of year so much. So I'm excited just that it's spring, but it just is going very fast. So looking into May, what's interesting is March and April, we had a lot going on. We had the eclipses, the solar maximum with the sun in April. So there's been like a lot of activity from the sun. So there's been a lot of energy basically coming down on us over the last couple months, and it's been pretty intense. And we had a bunch of planets actually in retrograde until about the middle of April. So that would be Venus, Mars, and Mercury were in retrograde. But about middle of April, they went direct. And so that kind of helped to lift up that some of that heavy energy that we have been going through and moving forward. So it's like if we felt kind of stuck and held back during that time, a lot of those retrogrades helped add to that feeling and of that energy being like that. And then now that it's all direct, we can go forward. So it's kind of like full steam ahead, moving forward from the middle of April until going into May. And, so I feel like May is gonna have a lot lighter energy than what we experienced over the last couple months, which is good. But we do have another planet going retrograde on May 4th. Pluto is gonna be going retrograde into Aquarius, and that's going to be helping us focus on things that we need to release and no longer carry. Now, the good thing is it's just one planet in retrograde. We don't have a whole pile of them. So that's why I'm saying May should be lighter, even though Pluto will be in retrograde. It shouldn't be quite the heavy energy that we are going through. But basically, that Pluto retrograde is going to help us to focus and bring to our attention things that we need to let go of, that are no longer serving us, that we no longer need to carry, that we've just been carrying for whatever reason, which a lot of times it's subconscious reasons. And so it's going to help us to release that. And as you will see a theme with this kind of going throughout the month of May. I noticed a theme with with the topic of releasing things that no longer serve us, getting out of situations that no longer serve us, but also, there's been a lot of tremendous growth spiritually and energetically over the last couple months. And so, this Pluto retrograde will help us to basically reflect on the transformations that we've made up to this point. So, I know it seems like, we don't really see how much transformation, we don't pay attention to it. But we have grown a lot, even though we might not notice it at first. And so Pluto and Aquarius, this retrograde will kind of help us reflect on that and be able to be like, oh, I have grown a lot in the last 6 months or in the last year or whatever. We'll start to really kind of, be able to see that with that retrograde and be able to understand that. And I know it can be kind of frustrating when we're going through all this energy because it can be seem like a slow process, but it does happen at a process and it happens in baby steps. So if we can focus on how much we've accomplished so far, that keeps us from feeling like oh, so it's so much more to go. But just focus on how much that you've grown so far, and you'll see it when you look back over the last couple months. So then in May 12th, we have a full moon in Scorpio. And this kind of goes back on that theme from the Pluto retrograde of letting things go, like letting go of old situations that no longer serve us, that we've been stuck and stagnant in, that are holding us back, and letting it go so that new energy can come in for new beginnings. Because new beginnings can't come in if you're holding on to that old energy and you're staying stuck in a situation. The new positive beginnings that want to come in can't, because you're holding on to that old energy and you're staying stuck in that situation. And a lot of times we're stuck for various reasons. Some of it could be subconscious, but also when you think about it, fear is quite a very powerful emotion, and it has a tendency to keep us stuck in situations that are not good for us because we're afraid. It might not be a good situation, but it's all we know. So to us, it's normal. And we don't understand or see that coming in the future is going to be something so much better. And, humans don't like change. We don't like, a lot of times people don't like to go through change, even if it's for their better, for the betterment of them in the long run. It's the tendency to want to stay stuck in something that's familiar, even if it's unhealthy or it's no longer serving us. So a lot of these, situations, we've already learned everything we've needed to learn from them. We've already, established those lessons and learned from them. So now it's like, okay, it's time to let that go and move on for these new beginnings to come in, these positive new beginnings and, new starts of things to come in so that energy can come in. So also, that full moon's going to allow us to see secrets and illusions that might have been kept from us. So bringing light to things. So, maybe you kind of know you're in a situation that you really need to let go of, and you kind of intuitively feel like, okay, I need to get out of this. I've, spent a lot of time in here. I've learned my lessons, but you're not seeing the whole picture, or you're kind of stuck in an illusion about that situation. This full moon can help bring it into your mind and bring it to light, or give you some intuitive hits that, hey, this is what's going on. This is the information you're missing to make this decision to move forward. And then we have the start of Gemini season on May 20th. So that's good because, well, Taurus is an earth sign, and it's very much like, connected to the earth and hardworking, and Taurus, they're kind of stuck in very, how can I say it? Oh, I just it's not coming to my mind, but Gemini is more of a, it's an air sign, so it's lighter, fast energy. And so there's a lot of communication, and it's kind of a fast, so it's kind of like, Aries, we had the fire energy coming through. Taurus was earth, so it kind of grounding. That's the word I was trying to think of. Taurus is very grounding, grounding us down, very connected to the earth. And then air energy coming in with Gemini is more like fast moving and get things moving forward, which is interesting because of I was just talking about with the new beginnings. And then May 24th is Saturn will go into Aries, and Saturn's kind of a tough planet because it teaches us lessons through hard knocks. Kind of it's the tough love planet. So it teaches us lessons, but they're not always it's not pleasant to go through that lesson. So it's teaching you a good lesson, but yep, there's definitely tough love involved, and it can be kind of rough. But with it being in Aries, Aries is a fire sign of action and moving forward and getting things done. So you'll see, like, during that time frame of May 24th, when it goes into Aries, it'll be bringing on more responsibility, taking charge, and then going with the new beginnings theme, new phases of, beginning. Um, so kind of like, we had that fire energy in Aries, and then Taurus season, you're kind of grounding the energy, getting, more, it's a more grounded, stable energy. And then Gemini, it's like things kind of moving forward faster with that Aries energy and new phases beginning. So coming, going into those new beginnings. And then in May 25th, Mercury goes into Gemini, and Mercury loves being in Gemini because Gemini is its home sign. So definitely communication's a big focus. So like if you have communication, like you're working on a project, using good communication to get through the project and get it accomplished. Or if you have a problem that you're working on, communication could be a big part of that in helping to take care of that. So lots of communication coming in on May 25th. And you'll see I think, it's just communication's a big part of it, which could play into the new beginning, which I'll explain in a minute. But then on May 26th, we got the new moon in Gemini. So that's going to bring in a new perspective and ideas, and kind of getting us into thinking about new beginnings, new beginnings, new ideas, new perspective on things that maybe we haven't noticed before. And then you'll see that continuing to the end of the month of May. And it also is going to help with a balance between our soul and our body, and our mind. So helping to bring balance to those things. And then May 29th through May 20, sorry about that. May 29th through 30th, I had something pop up on my screen and I was trying to get it off. May 29th through 30th. So it is Mercury conzimi. So the sun conjuncts Mercury at that time, and recharging energy. So basically, especially in the mind. So kind of going back to what I was saying about, new perspective, new ideas, thinking. And Gemini's, is a lot of mind stuff going on with Gemini's, and I'm a Gemini, so I have a tendency to get stuck in my head a lot and think about things, thinking it to death, so to speak, and being kind of stuck in my head. So definitely recharging energy in our head. So basically, mental clarity, looking at things from a different perspective. So if we go back and look at the beginning of May, the beginning of May was all about, letting go. And I feel like the energy from Taurus kind of helped grounded us to help us think, about making changes, help us think about the situations we're in, help us think about these things and ground our energy. But now it's like as we get into the beginning of May and going into Gemini season, it's like kind of like taking action on these changes. And as we, in the beginning of May, we're still kind of acknowledging the things we need to release and the situations we need to get rid of and to let go of things that no longer serve us. But by the middle of the month, you're seeing a transition as we get into Gemini, where it's kind of like communication coming in to help us to make these new phases happen. And then with the Saturn Aries, seeing basically like more responsibility, taking action. So it's like we went from thinking about these changes and acknowledging that we have to make them to now we're actually going into the mental thinking of a plan on how to implement the change and then taking the action to do it. So I think towards the end of May, what I see is a lot more thinking about, all right, these are the changes I have to make. How can I, what's the plan in place to make and start kind of actually bringing these changes into the, into manifestation. So, and then towards the end of the month, it looks like we're going to be a little more stuck in our head thinking things through and seeing things from a bit different perspective, but that's part of the new phases coming in, the new beginnings coming in. So, of course, the new beginning isn't going to come in right away if you release something. There's a little bit of time there where you have to think, plan, consider, look at things from a different perspective as that new energy and that new beginning comes in. So, I see a lot of transition happening in May from the acknowledgement, understanding we have to make those changes and get out of those situations and let things go to actually thinking a plan on how to do it and then later implementing it. So I definitely see like the rest of spring is going to be a lot of letting things go and bringing these new things in. I think not just individually we're going to see that, but on a global scale as well, letting go of things that no longer serve us, whether it's systems or whatever, and then new things coming in that are going to be much more positive for us as a collective globally, but also individually in our life. But I think you'll see a lot of on a global scale, I think we'll see a lot of changes over the next couple months, especially like letting things go, disclosure coming in, information coming in. And then it's kind of like, I think by summer, we're going to really start to see these new beginnings come in that we have been kind of, we've been seeing the breakdown of things in our life that no longer serve us and letting them go. But I think we'll start to really see globally new things come in the summer, new beginnings, but also in our individual life as well. And what's really interesting about astrology is how it all works in together. So it's kind of like, we have the solar maximum going on from the sun all through April. And then you've got the astrological influences that are coming in, energy from the planets that are coming in. And it's really fascinating to me how the divine set it all up. So everything complements each other and works together because, he's got a divine plan in place and everything's coming in divine timing as planned. And when you look at how everything falls into alignment with each other and it's all designed to work together to help us, basically with our energy and to help to bring forth the divine plan in divine timing, and it's really quite fascinating when you see how it all works together. But I do want to bring up that like the earth, there's been a lot of energy going on with the earth as well. So there's been some earthquakes that have happened. I know there was one in Istanbul that was like a 6.2, and then the other earthquakes throughout the planet. I think we're going to continue to see that because there's just been so much energy coming in from the sun, the geomagnetic storms that we've been hit with, the solar flares, plasma coming off the sun. There's just been so much activity, corona holes, and all kinds of stuff going on. And it's kinda like it's so intense, there's just so much coming at us that the energy that we're getting hit with right now, the earth is like vibration is lifting at a very fast pace because the energy is that strong. So it's happening very fast. And so it seems like, it seems like a lot's coming at us, but in a way it is because we're growing so much conscious with our consciousness. There's so much energy coming in that the earth's vibrations lifting up really fast right now. And then you think about the earth is she is a being that has consciousness. And so, so she basically is also ascending with us. So she has to release negative energy as well that she's been holding on to for, eons of time. So she's releasing things, and that's why you're seeing earthquakes and some natural disasters happening, because she's got this buildup energy, negative energy that she has to release in order to ascend with us. So she's ascending with us, and we're kind of, doing it, we're all doing it together. We're on this process together, but everything in the solar system's ascending. So it's not just us here on the planet on Earth ascending, it's the sun is ascending, the sun, the planets, the whole solar system's ascending, everything's ascending at the same time. And so it's going to be intense because everything's raising up together. So the earth has to let go of things so she can ascend. The sun's letting go of things so it can ascend, and go up in vibration, and same with us. And of course that all affects us as well. So, and if you want proof of that, of this with the sun, just look at the sun nowadays. When I was a child, the sun looked nothing like it does now. It was basically a yellow ball in the sky. But but now it's like it's so much brighter. Like as a kid, you're not supposed to look at the sun, right? But when I would, because they say it's bad for your eyes, but then I find out that sun gazing isn't that bad. But anyway, so when I was a kid and I looked at the sun, I could look at it. It was just a yellow ball. But now that I'm, decades later, I look at the sun and I can't even look at it now. It's so bright that I can't look at it for a few seconds. So it's so much brighter. It's white now compared to when I was a child and it was yellow. So that's showing you that it has gone up in vibration. It's gotten more intense and it's changing. So everything is rising up together at the same time. So definitely, I think we're going to see, unfortunately, some more natural disasters and things, earthquakes going on because the earth, I'm sorry, is releasing negative energy that she needs to release so that she can ascend as well. And same with us in our personal lives. We're going to be releasing things, in our personal life that so we can rise in vibration, because those things that we need to release that are holding us back, they're not going to do us any favors. They're just going to keep us stuck, and they'll keep us from growth and keep us from, ascending to a higher level. So in order to ascend, we have to get out of those situations. We have to let go of things that are toxic, no longer serving us, and that are lower vibration, so that we can bring in that higher energy so we can ascend. So you'll see it individually happening to you on a individual level, but then globally it's going to be happening on the global scale for the collective consciousness. And then the earth, it's happening for the earth and the sun and the whole solar system. So everything's going through it together basically. But I just wanted to add that about the sun and the earth, because I just think it's important to see how it's all kind of together, working together, and how we're working with it. We're part of that process, all in it together. So very fascinating, very interesting. So hopefully it will be a lighter month in May. It looks like it. I still think we're going to be doing a lot of work as far as spiritually and energetically, but it's definitely lighter energy than what we had in March and April. So, especially going into the Gemini season. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you liked the video, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.